Dear friends, we will talk about the Wisdom Village. It will be talk number 5. Well, I will talk about topics which we were touched earlier, but I think I kind of underestimate the importance of certain issues in order to make the whole village structure work. Namely, it concerned cooperation and decision making. Well, we talk quite a bit about cooperation in various contexts, but here we are talking about cooperation about not individuals, but about groups. Groups being the nucleuses cooperating together. It's much more challenging and easy on one hand at both than cooperation between individuals, because individuals within nucleus see each other, have visual personal contact, daily contact. They know each other and they can contact and they can communicate quite directly and express themselves directly, and it is personal. They make decisions sitting together in one space and hearing each other's voice, seeing each other's face, and whatever may be used in such situation. And they cooperate again directly, doing whatever, cooking, agriculture, taking care of children, enjoying, celebrating, whatever they do, it's extremely close and direct. Here we deal with entities which are separate. A separate space. Of course, the members of individual nucleuses may meet from time to time. They connect via some electronic media and they have joint things, but essentially they live separately. So there is this element of the daily connection is not playing the role. And therefore the decision concerning the whole village is made by the representatives of each of the nucleuses. Representative is not exactly, he represents the 20-30 people. He's not 20-30 people. I'm sorry, it's mechanical, but again, English is always he in the first place, but of course it's she or he or whatever it is, it. Maybe a child is representative. That would be interesting. Children representing and making decision how the grown-ups should live. That would be pretty interesting. Anyway, taking more seriously, it is, or not seriously, but it is a real challenge, because each represents the interests of its own nucleus. And here we have to combine them and take from that, melt into interest of the whole village. And it is easier if the village is in ideal thing as the cluster of nucleuses neighboring, so you can walk from one to another on a daily basis or hourly basis. But the ideal situation sometimes it is particularly in the beginning of the when the project begins, nucleuses could be separate, and they still act as the unit. So I am not giving the magical solution. I am pointing out at the challenging situation of challenge of the situation, because then coordinator of the village, who is empowered by all the representatives, it doesn't make decisions but make daily decisions which affect nucleuses, and it is impossible that it will consult every single member of the village, which could be 400,000, 500,000. It's simply impossible. So it would be a very interesting thing. Actually, it never was done because in a prehistoric time, the individual corresponding thing of nucleuses, they didn't have the second layer of structure. They were just separate. They cooperate, communicate, but each was making its own individual decisions. Of course, now it is different because usually in democratic country are election, and usually 2 tiers you elect some sort of representative of some region which doesn't know these people or comes from somewhere, and then they play politics or whatever they do in the parliament or chamber or Sejm in Poland or whatever it is. So here it's different. They actually want this, they don't favor their particular nucleus, they don't fight for their nucleus, they have to have a bigger view. And here we are coming to the thing which I mentioned during my last talk. I believe it was the last talk about the fourth paramita, which I translated energy. By the way, in Sanskrit it's called virya. Anyway, I was thinking about the village at that point, and I see that the wisdom training is of capital importance, If we are not being loose and flexible and have some joy and humor, the whole thing becomes deadly serious, and once it's getting serious, there's big chance that it will collapse. So the only thing at this point I could see, since experiment hasn't been made, so I can't give too much suggestion or advice, I don't know. I am just pointing out towards the potential difficulties, because I believe it's much better to be pre-warned or make lots of hope, everything will be beautiful, people will be lovely and they will understand. It it requires that their mind will be open and they return to their natural wisdom, which from that may emerge humor and joy and of working together. That's as much as I wanted to say about more about general this cooperation and decision making, because they are completely interconnected, interwoven, and that will be the end of this talk. Probably will be one more talk about the village, and we will finish this subject. Well, I welcome your comments, your feedback about that, which unfortunately I'm receiving very little, and I don't know where you are with this whole thing. It would be extremely helpful if I will know. So please write to me, call me, whatever you want, so I will know where you are. So anyway, that is good end for today. So goodbye until the next time.